I'm Ed Adams, and you're listening to the AFCA Podcast. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the AFCA Podcast. And in this episode, we get down to the roots of Hollywood and hair with film and television hairstylist Camille Friend. I'll fill you in after the break. The AFCA Podcast is sponsored by Morgan Stanley Global Sports and Entertainment. Hair and makeup is an essential part of how we look at a film. It helps us to visually capture the character and encapsulating the overall look of them and the memorable moments that we see them in. Whether it's a young woman going on her first date, an African king fighting to save his throne, or a family fighting to survive the unknown, we remember them from top to bottom, including their hair. Now, to help understand what goes into hairstyling for film, I only had to speak to one person, Camille Friend. Camille is an award-winning hairstylist who has worked in the industry in both television and film for over 20 years. She has worked on some of the past decade's most iconic and blockbuster films. Check out a few projects she's worked on: 8 Mile, Ray, Coach Carter, Dreamgirls, The Help, The Hangover, Django Unchained, Black Panther, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, the television show House of Lies, Glass, The Hateful Eight, and Us. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So recently, I had the pleasure to chat with Camille via Skype to discuss the hair business, how she got started, and what it takes to make it in the industry. Camille, thank you so much for being a part of the AFCA Podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, thank you. So let's start at the beginning, because your story really is fascinating when you look at your filmography and the work that you've done. But we got to start with where all this came from. So tell me what it was like to grow up in a family of hairstylists in Arizona.
Well, it's okay. I'm going to tell you something so ironically. It's just recently I just found out, I've known for a long time, but a piece of information really came to boot about my family. And there's actually a PBS special that came out of New Mexico about my grandfather, who started one of the first Black cities in New Mexico. And he walked from the South all the way to New Mexico.
Get out.
And, no, I'm serious. I can send you the link. And I'll tell you what, I saw it like a week ago. My mom showed me, and I was literally in tears, because I've always, how you hear your family talk, it's like urban legend, all this stuff about your family. And I believed it, but I was like, okay, this sounds a little far-fetched. But it's really been quantified that this is real. And I was like, it really makes me understand who I am and the things that I want to do and the things that I have done, and my determination level. I really, really understand it now, where it comes from. And it's truly from my family, it's from my ancestors. And I truly believe that is my true connection to what I do as a hairstylist, because I do come from a big family of hairstylists. And, and I think that is, for me, it's spiritual, and it's just who I am.
Oh, wow. That's an amazing story, though. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
I'll send you the link later. I'll send it to you.
Oh, that's awesome. So now, growing up, were you that girl who was always, your hair was always on point, or were you that girl I'm going to get that?
Oh, no, always on point. Let me tell you, my mother can braid hair like nobody's business. Those Kim Tyson braids she had in the 70s, all done up. Oh, my mother can do all of that. My mother is an awesome braider, hairdoer. Even now, she does her grandchildren's hair. My mom is that woman.
Oh, wow.
So our hair was always done. My mom always had I look back at pictures. I was like, Mom, I had on boot cut corduroy pants with go-go boots. I was kind of fly. My mom always kept us my mom always cared about how we looked, and it was something that was good. And I think too, I was really chunky growing up, and what was interesting is that I didn't have a complex about certain things, because even though I knew I was kind of chunky, my mom was like, put that outfit on, you look cute. It doesn't matter if it's a little too tight. Mm-hmm. So some of the things, that my parents instilled with me and gave me, like, I don't have like some of the big issues. It's like, it's good. And so my mom has always been good about that. She's like really loving, kind. It's been a great mother to get me to womanhood, and even as a grown woman, like to have a mother like that's really supportive.
Oh, wow. So you had all the best school photos.
Unless you act up before you get to school and your press gets sweated out because you've been playing on the playground.
Man,
okay?
Tell it like it is. Like, but you get your afro all puffed, and by 2:00 when you take the photo, it's deflated. Yeah, I have plenty of those. I'm never putting those on the internet.
Oh yeah, you know how you're like the bangs will be off because you sweated your bangs out of the edge or something, right? And my mom is like, "What happened in this picture?"
Yeah,
I put you to school looking a certain way. It's like, oh, busted. But that's a kid thing. That's what we do.
Yeah, I'm from the '70s, so I remember one year I had a Billy D. Williams.
Me too.
And
I love it.
That picture did not come out well. I think my parents not to buy that photo. Like, they were like, yeah, that's not happening. But another story for another day. So going back and thinking about your earlier years, like, what were some of the movies or TV shows or actors or people that you remember that you idolized, or films that you remember watching that you were like, okay, this is what I want to do? How did you that push you into going into film?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I hate to say I don't have any like glamorized story like that. Literally, I fell into this business.
What?
Like, I had no idea. No, I'm serious. I literally fell face forward, got up, and started running. I've been running ever since.
All right, like, you got to tell me this story.
No, literally, I didn't know that I wanted to do this. Literally, I went to help a girlfriend of mine out on a movie, which is called Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Mm-hmm. Went to go help her curl some wigs. Basically, people know I love curling hair. I can curl hair with the best of them. So I went to go help her curl some wigs, and one day they were like, this movie's turning union. I said, what is the union? What is it? I didn't even know. And then, boom, the movie turned union, and coincidentally, it happened that one of the actresses that was in the movie, she said to me, her name is Cindy Carly. Let me give her props. Cindy said to me, I have this TV show. They said that I could bring a hairdresser. Could you come do my hair? And I was like, okay. And the show was Third Rock from the Sun. So wow. I didn't even know where I was going. I went and did Cindy Carly's hair. I went and did the cast. I was there for 6 years. I got nominated for an Emmy, and there it is. That's what happened.
That's amazing. I love these stories. Like, that's a true Hollywood story.
Yeah, it is. I was really Alice in Wonderland, fell down the rabbit hole, and I just kept running. They couldn't stop me.
That is awesome. So what was one of the first lessons you learned? I mean, because you've been working in this industry, for some time now. So what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned, having started the way that you did?
Always be prepared. Like, you never know what your opportunities are going to be, so be prepared. And one thing I was always a person is I've always been about my skill level, like keeping my skill level up, knowing a little bit about everything. Like, some people call me a busybody. Like, my family always was like, Camille is nosy. I said, I sure am, because I like to know about everything. So I am nosy. But the curiosity that I've always had is like something that drives me and helps me in my work, because you have to stay curious about things and curious about people and different things that you might inquire doing this job. So my curiosity is always something that's driven me, and my level to be a great hairstylist, to be as good as I can be. And, and it brings up everybody in the room when you come in with a level of expectation of greatness. Like, I tell people, if you want to work for me and you want to be good, that's okay, but you're probably not going to last for long, because I'm going to drive you crazy, because I'm going to push you and I'm going to push you. But people who allow me to mold them and push them, they end up having great careers. Like, I have a girl right now who just got in the union, and she worked under me for a couple of years, and her name is Marva. And Marva now is working on the biggest TV show. She's about to buy her house, baby. Okay?
Nice.
And she's been in the union like a year and a half. Like, she's balls out of control. I'm like, whoa, girl, slow it down. But I'm so happy for her. And it's because it's her skill level, it's her demeanor, and it's her love for the business, and that she's just a person with a good heart. All of those things really, really matter.
Oh, man, that is awesome. That is awesome. And it's awesome that you do that. But I wanted to jump in on something you just kind of said about pushing yourself. Now, you worked on Black Panther and you worked on Hunger Games. And I brought those up, those two movies up for a particular reason. It's because in one instance, you have like Afrofuturism, right? And then you have, with the Hunger Games, you have dystopian futurism. And both of them require a certain amount of imagination. So as the head stylist for both of those films, talk to me about your concept of creating and the looks that you created, from the two perspectives. Like, what's the difference between the two? But also, what are some of the similarities and what is your process?
Well, I think the one thing interesting about Hunger Games is you were going into already established movie. So it's like, okay, how are you going to make it different? Or how are you going to respect what's already there? So I think that's always interesting when you're coming into, a series that's always there. Mm-hmm. And so with Hunger Games, it was very much that the series was actually changing because they were going into this post-apocalyptic look. So I was kind of like, oh, great. I don't get the glamorous look. I get the here we go, down the road look. And I was like, oh, great. But then, the beauty in is designing something that, too, at that point, that's appeasing to the eye, something that's going to fall in line with the story, something that's going to fall in line with the costumes, and what's going to put like your own stamp on that look versus something like Black Panther, where it's a blank slate. Like, I walked in Black Panther and basically I knew I was going to do Black Panther a year ahead because I've already done, like, I think at that time 4 or 5 Marvel movies. So I'm part of the Marvel family. So I knew I was going to do the movie. I had no idea the magnitude of the movie, but I knew I was going to do the movie. So, finding out what the movie was about and just starting to do the research. And when I met Ryan Coogler very early on, I was like, okay, this guy is we're going to seriously do a movie about Africa. Like, this is not play. We can really have an experience. And so going in and looking at it like that and, just thinking, like, what can I create to me that's going to be cinematic and iconic? Like, I always like to look at movies of, like, what's going to last forever? Like, what's going to look good 10, 15, 20 years ago that I can be proud about? So I'm always thinking about making iconic characters and making actors look iconic in something where, when they show you real, that's I want my image that I did with you in a movie to be first.
Mm-hmm. Right.
To be up there. So that's what I always think about when I'm in the designing mode.
Okay. So speaking of that, I was curious. I know that Ryan and a lot of the creative team, and yourself included, took several trips to Africa. What were some of the people and experiences that stuck with you that you brought to Black Panther that you still think about today?
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't end up going to Africa with them on those trips, but I have been to Africa before.
Okay.
So, so I have been to Africa before. And I think the thing for me was, I always say it's the tribal connection and be able to connect the tribes together and still give everybody very individual looks. So I always was thinking about, okay, my influence was more of, I call it the modern day Africa, or what is the modern day, like, woman doing in the U.S.? What is the Afrocentric woman doing? What are these different women doing? So that's where I got my looks from the traditional, but still looking into the modern, because, it's been a whole natural hair explosion that has happened. Mm-hmm. So Black Panther being a part of that explosion is tying in, the Afrocentric of modern, but then keeping the traditional ties and just doing things that are creative and then that are fun. So that's really where I started my designing, like, jump off point was.
Okay. Now, you've worked with Samuel L. Jackson on a ton of movies. So yeah. I wanted to know, can you talk to me about...
That's my number one boss.
Because you put him in a lot of stuff. So I wanted to know, like,
Right.
talk to me about when you're styling him. Like, what are some of what are some of the conversations you have with him when you're creating his hairstyles?
Well, Sam is always, you have to know, family is like family. Like, I was raised around Sam coming up in the business because I used to work for his hairdresser, his original, the OG hairdresser, and one of my mentors, Robert Stevenson. I used to work for him. I was his key for a long time. So I always knew Sam. So in designing for Sam, first, he calls me up, Cam A. I think we're about to do something. I was like, oh, okay, what you thinking about? And he'll tell me what he's thinking about. And he goes, I'm going to send you some pictures. I said, okay, then I'm going to send you some pictures back. So it starts literally just, before I talk to any director, we just start talking about it and like thinking about what's going to work for the character, what he wants to do, what I think would look cool, and just like going from there. So it's just usually just really with him and I just chopping it up, having a conversation.
Oh wow.
Or like, for instance, if I see something like, even if I see something like if I see something on Instagram or I see something, on the internet, if I see like some like really cool hairstyle, I'll be like, we should do this look in a movie. They might not be now, but let's put this in the archive because we could do this. This would be cool on you. So, it's always for him. I'm always thinking about things that I can do with him. And he's a great collaborator. Like, he lets me do my thing. And it's just like, it's just always a lot of fun. And he's always game. A lot of people have a lot of restrictions on things you can't do and all that. He doesn't have those kind of restrictions. So I think he gets the best from me because he allows me to be fully creative in his process.
So I love that idea of letting you be you, right, and respecting your craft.
Yes.
And speaking of
Yes.
your craft, great segue. You were also the stylist, the hairstylist for Us.
Yes.
Jordan Peele's Us, and I love that film, but I don't even know how brilliant. Just the way that you created two very unique. I mean, Lupita did it, but you hooked it up. So I wanted to know, talk to me about how you created Adelaide and Red and those distinct looks, specifically with hair, and the conversations that you may have had with Jordan and Lupita about creating those two very different but very powerful looks for this character.
No, I totally understand the question. I'll say this. Jordan Peele is my hero. Like, I love him from all perspectives. He is a great, smart, creative director, but he's very much like Quentin Tarantino, where Quentin just gives you the ball and he's like, look, this is you run with it. So people who allow me to do that, you get the best out of me. So the one thing that was really cool is that from the beginning, we had always talked about like the two characters. How were they going to be different, but how are we going to tie them together with all the cast? Because it had to be a thread. You always want things to connect in some way. So that was really, really important. And then Lupita was she was really sure about, she wanted to do some sort of, natural hairstyle. So we started looking at styles. What would a mother look like? What would a woman of her status, what would she look like? And what's going to be also, you always have to look about what's going to be beautiful on your actor's face, because that's the money shot. Mm-hmm. So, looking for things that were going to work for her. And I've really been blessed to work with Lupita several times. So tying all of that in, that's how we came with the style. And then basically, the Adelaide was the mother. She's the mother, she's the matrix of the family, and we want to give her something that was, modern and something that was going to look good on her. And then too, knowing that the movie was only going to take period over a short time, there's not going to be a lot of hair changes. So you want to get her into something that's going to read throughout the whole movie. And then the Adelaide was definitely, that was something that took a little bit more search, because we had tried different things and it was just seemed like we were trying too hard. And I was like, if she had been underground, this is how she would look. And then also Lupita, this is like totally a background thing, which was interesting. Like when I started like just twisting it and making it messy, and she was like, you know what? She goes, I want you to make them like I was like the Crown. I said, because she's the queen of the underground. So that's just something like a little side note, like just getting those different pieces of hair to kind of come up like a crown. because she was the queen of the underground and the people there.
Wow.
And she was their voice. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you like that?
That was, whoo! Take me there. Take me there.
Yeah.
So, so I'm gonna go like black hair right now. We're going black hair.
Okay.
So there's a lot of times I'm in movie theaters, and sometimes urban films, sometimes not. But the one thing that women will start going in on is hair.
That's hair.
They're like, that wig ain't right. And it made me think about this question for you. Like, we've already talked about natural hair and how it's kind of become, it's not really a trend, it's just part of our culture now. But as a person who's leading a department, when you're at the opportunity to be at that table, like, how do you advocate to say, like, you know what, we need real good wigs, or we need a bigger budget to do the things what we need to do, so that we don't have these kind of conversations in our community saying, like, you know what, they ain't trying to spend nothing on these black people. They're not trying to make these black people look good. You know what I mean? So how do you have that conversation, or what has that been like for you when you're advocating for good hair on set? Well,
I'll be honest. I'm at the point in my career, you know what you're getting when you hire me. You know that you're getting custom wigs.
Y'all didn't hear this, but she just dropped the mic on me. She totally just dropped the mic.
No, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm being honest. When people hire me, they're not hiring me to go to Sally Sue and get a wig.
Right.
Like, they're hiring me to design a wig from beginning to end. And that's what I do. And I mean, I work with great wig makers that do custom wigs here. And they're serious about their business and what they do. So I've been really blessed people just know, okay, if you're going to call Camille Friend, this is what I do.
Okay.
So I'm just saying.
Now, is that a conversation in your industry, though? I mean.
Oh, I think this is the thing. And I'm going to say this. You can show up to a job, like, I'm going to give you a for instance. Like, you can show up to a job like I'm just going to say, I won't say. Like, you can show up to a job and they'll say, okay, I have blah, blah, blah in the budget for wigs. And you know if that's enough or not. And most of the time I'll be like, I think we're going to need more money. And they're like, well, why are you going to need more money? And I can give you a 20-minute monologue on why I need more money for wigs. And usually I'm going to wear you down. Because if you want your movie to look a certain way, this is why we need this money. And you have to know now, film is very corporate. When they come up with the money for wigs, it's not a price that I came up with. It's an accountant somewhere in a corner who decided to throw that dollar amount in to get that budget passed, to get that movie made. But there is money, but you have to ask for it. I tell people, you have to ask for what you want. So I'm not scared to ask for what I want. Like, I'll fall on my sword. I'll cry. I could fall out even if I can't get the money. Like, I'm going to get the money for wigs, and I'm going to push it because, listen, what matters to me is what's on that screen. And if that wig doesn't look good, why are we wasting money? Like, let's get to the wig that looks good. So let's not mess around. So people know with me, I don't mess around.
Okay. All right. You got me in check. I got it. I love it. I love it.
And I think too, more hairstylists, and I preach this, you have to speak up for yourself. People, this is the thing that I realized a long time ago. People are paying me for my expertise. I can't tell a grip how to light a light. I can't really tell him. Well, I can't kind of tell you. But I mean, I can't do his job. So somebody who doesn't do my job necessarily can't tell me what I need. So you have to very much stand up for your craft and do what is right. And when you do the right thing, you don't have any regrets and you could sleep at night. Because if something doesn't look right on camera for me, I can't sleep. Like, it makes my stomach hurt.
Oh,
like,
wow.
It's really important. No, it's really important on what we do, and you have to speak up for just for the integrity of the hairdressing and the hairstyling of the movie. There's an integrity in it that we have to have.
Okay. So speaking of that, one of the things that I think about when I think about hair and makeup is all the touch-ups. and the idea of keeping things consistent. So can you talk to me a little bit about some of the challenges that you face when you're working on films for like months and you have to maintain all this consistency with their hair or have some kind of hair story that goes along with the plot of the actual movie? Or something, or just like a day shoot, or like what are some of the challenges you have? I'm assuming like humidity may be an issue, lighting, I don't know, temperature.
Oh, all of it. Like weather is not your friend, because it's either going to be too hot, it's going to be too cold, because either way that changes the texture of the hair. It could be, it could be rain, it could be snow, it could be humidity. I mean, the enemy of the hair really is drizzle. Drizzle and fog is the enemy of the hairstyle.
You said that with such venom.
Enemy of the hairstyle. So, those are things that we have to fight. But the thing that you have to be, and it's like, I tell people all the time, if you're there, you're not there to be on your phone. You're not there to be looking at magazines. You're not there to be knitting. You are there to look and use your eyes, not be 25, 40 feet away from the set, your eyes to what that hair is doing in the scene, how it's moving, what you need to do. And if your eyes are on what you're supposed to be doing, your touch-ups are easy. But if you're down around the corner, you can't see what's going on. That's all. So touch-ups are really important. And it's a matter of just keeping your eyes and being there. And when you have weather, trust me, weather can be your worst nightmare.
Oh,
and
wow.
So you just really have to be on top of it. And we have things on set, like I've had people will run the curling iron in with a 1,000-foot what they call stinger, which basically is a long electric cord, where I will walk in with my hot curling iron, and I'm going to curl your hair right here on the set while you stand here, while they set the camera up. And I'm going to keep curling until they say, Camille, we're about to roll. And then I'm going to step out. But I'm going to take every moment I can to keep that hair continually correct.
Because I would imagine...
And it's really important that you do.
Yeah, because I would imagine like shooting here in Atlanta, especially for the Marvel stuff where there's so much movement going on, that you were constantly bumping wigs and getting everything together.
Oh no, you're constantly doing it, and the people, and your eyes and what you do is really, as I say, just really, really important. And that's one of that's one of my pet peeves. People who don't touch up on set, that's one of my pet peeves. And I always tell people, okay, I'm going to tell you something kind of bad. I did something bad one time on a movie. I won't say what movie it is. I had some hairdressers, and they weren't touching up. And I said, listen, you guys need to get up and touch up. I said, so let me tell you something. When my ass moves, your ass moves. How about that?
Boom.
If you don't want to do that, then you don't need to be here. And I mean that.
And that makes total sense to me. That's how you keep your coins. That's how you keep your coins.
Well, this is not a game to me.
Right.
This is my life. This is my legacy. And like I told you, I've been so blessed with the legacy of my family. I'm here representing all those people who stood up for me, who did things for me, who taught me and lost their life for me and my family. So I have to step up to the plate.
Amen.
There's no in between for me. There's no in between.
See, now you're talking. See, that's woo, you preaching now. You preaching. This ain't no interview. This is a sermon. It's a sermon right now. Get your life, people. Get your life. So I did have a technical question. It may be technical. I don't know. But is there a difference in how you set up hair for like an action film as opposed to like a dramatic or a comedy film?
Actually, I don't. I think it's all based on me for character. I actually don't. Only thing I will tell you this, and I'll explain this to you, and it's been a great lesson for me. Like when I started my first Marvel movie, I got to go to a visual effects school when I did Captain America 2, Winter Soldier. And I went to visual effects school, and you're like, why do you need to go to visual effects school? Because you need to understand where visual effects, how it works with the hair and makeup, what they need you to do to sustain looks, and especially if you're creating certain looks, visual effects can be your best friend. So like I love visual effects people. Some of them are my buddies now because I'm so interested in it. I told you I was nosy, and I love having the experience to help create with them and do different things. And through Marvel, I've really gotten to do that. And especially like one of the last books I did was on Captain Marvel with Sam and his aging process, which that process, that the de-aging process, I should say, the de-aging process. That process started 8 months before we started filming that movie.
Oh, wow.
So going through the process with a company called Lola, I'm going to give them the shout out because they are the best at what they do. They're so awesome at what they do. And so just working with those guys, and another great guy I love working with is Chris Townsend. He's another great guy who works in visual effects. All these people have really taught me so much, and I just love, especially now in this day and age of film, you can't avoid it. Like you have to, it's a marriage between hair and makeup and visual effects. So we have to support each other in what we do. It's really important.
Because I would imagine, like, even thinking back to like Winter Soldier, where you're having those street scenes where everybody's fighting. You got Scarlett Johansson with stunt doubles flipping and turning, like, and all those things that you're styling. People don't realize you're actually styling, making sure all that hair looks right, just like with the makeup people and the visual effects people. I mean, your job is just as integral in that.
No, I remember actually on this movie, we were filming and we were in Cleveland, and at one time, we had 3 units going. So I remember literally, running with our stuff, like tag teaming each people out, like moving. Okay, I'm going over there, you go over there, like, and we were running and sweating. And it was, we were on the move because we were on the freeways. We only had so much time. So it was like really hands on, and that's what had to happen.
Wow.
And you're like, some days you could be going to 3 different units. Like a lot of times I like having a bike because, it helps keep the weight under control. Plus you just need a bike to be getting around to all these different units. And sometimes, people don't move fast enough for Camille. So I'm going to go. Or sometimes they get mad at me because I just get in my car and I'll drive to the next location. I'll be gone.
I ain't got no time for this. I need some Activate over here right now. Yes, I love it.
I need to go. and I need to go because especially you don't know like when they're going to start rolling camera, and and the people always forget too, especially in big movies, and Marvel, like the stunt people are just as important as the main actors because they shoot them just as much or more than the actors.
Right.
So all of it has to be on point. It's all important that it all looks good. There
you go. So I wanted to know, talk to me about Hair Scholars and your masterclass and how did this come about?
Yay! Hair Scholars! That's my baby. Oh my God. I have to tell you, I fell in love with teaching. So it's another thing that I just fell into. Thank God just like tells me where to go because I just don't know some days. God really presented that in my life as a surprise. I'll tell you, we were doing Guardians of the Galaxy, and we were doing these intricate looks. We were doing ball caps and then doing wigs on top of them for certain characters. And I was like, people don't know how to do this. We gotta give a class or something. So I went to our executive producer and explained to him what I thought and what we needed. And he goes, okay, Camille. He goes, we're going to do a 1-day class. You're going to bring in the hairdressers that you want to come work. Actually, it ended up being 2 days because we had that many people. And he goes, can you teach people in 1 day how to do this look? I said, yes. It's going to save us so much money on the day of. And people actually will know how to come to this look. So that was like the first time I taught a class like that. And I was like, wow, I really like this. People seem to like me teaching, and it gave me a whole way to like be able to teach people and teach through my heart and give back all the things that I've learned from generations of different hairstylists. And I've worked with some of the best. So I was able for me to give back. So that's how it was born. And then we've been going since then. We do master classes, we do wig class. We have a new texture class we did a texture class here in LA and people were bananas about. It was really, really fun. And we do period classes, and we're going to get ready. We're about to shoot, and we're going to go digital. So people can watch our classes from, wherever you're at.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And then too, I'm doing a mentorship too. That's my big baby. Actually, I'm writing that right as we speak. Is I'm going to do a
Aww.
mentorship. So it's important, and I just want people to know, like, I'm not a superhero. I'm an average girl. I'm from Tempe, Arizona. I just have a lot of, I'm very bold, and I do it from love and kindness from my heart. And I just don't want what our gift is as hairstylists to die. And I want us to continue to grow. And I want people to do, movies on my level or past or, win Academy Awards. I want people to have that kind of skill set because that sets you up for a better and bigger career.
Okay.
So it's really important to me. It's my baby.
Aww. So it's so cute.
Yeah.
I love the idea of mentoring. I think that's such an important thing. But when you're teaching about hair, what's one of the most important lessons you impart on the people who want to come into the industry?
This is the thing about, I think, the difference. People who are in the salon, when you're in the salon, you're running your own. You're running your own program. You can come to work when you want. You can leave when you want. You can do whatever you want at any time. When you come to the movie set, believe it or not, you are working for somebody. So people are going to tell you when to eat, when to go home, what style to do. And a lot of people think that it's when you get there, they think it's going to be like a free for all. Like, they think they're just going to do whatever they want to do. And I think people need to understand when you come to set, it's very much a regimented schedule. And somebody's going to tell you, I don't like that. I need for you to put this style like this. And you have to be like, not fire back. Well, why you want me to do it like that? That's not the answer. The answer is, that's not it. The answer is, okay, how can I change this for you? How can I make this better for you? And I always tell people, one of my main mottos is, I just go to work and I'm here. How may I serve? What am I supposed to do today? Where am I supposed to serve God in this job every day? And if you do it out of that, you get much better results than being, I don't care, and I'll just say this, I don't care if you're a talented asshole. You can be the best hairdresser, but if you're an asshole, I'm not hiring you because I don't like dealing with assholes.
Yeah, I can only imagine the.
Yeah.
Because people do have their own egos that they bring with them, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, right?
Well, most of the time it doesn't work. And, I always tell people, you have to learn how to play well with others because, when you have a sandbox, I'll call it a sandbox of hairdressers, of 30 hairdressers, you're going to have a couple assholes. And I'm pretty good at kicking the assholes out. But because you have to have, when you get that right cohesive team, you just have a great time doing the movie. It's a lot of fun. But if you have a person who's always complaining, always having a problem, never happy, and a lot of times them being happy has nothing to do with the job. You need to get happy. Mm-hmm. You need to figure that out on your own. So, it's something that you have to, it's just one of those things, as my ex-husband really taught me. Douglas Soto, that's my ex-husband. I do love and still adore him. He taught me, he said, being the department head is not the popular position. So you have to get past being popular. You have to do what's right. And you have to do what's best for the department. And you have to do what's best for the movie. And that's something I had to learn.
Okay. My final question. Well, you're not happy doing hair. What are you happy doing?
Oh, boy. What am I happy doing? Well, you have to know. I love to cook. I'm serious. I'm a cooker.
What?
I'm always, oh, yeah. I love to cook. I do a lot of cooking. And I told you, I'm a busybody. I like to work out. I like to hang out with my friends. And, I like to hang out with my family. I love to travel. And, and like really my hobby really is like, I love to do is part of it is hairstylist. Mm-hmm. And plus, I'll say this, what people don't know about me too. I love going to concerts. I'm a big concert goer. I love going to concerts. That's one of my favorite things to do. I love seeing all different kind of acts because I love all different kind of music. I'm a music person more than anything. I listen to music from sun up to sundown. Plus, my other, I wouldn't know if I would call it a hobby, is I believe in meditation. I meditate a lot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And meditation has changed my life. I've been meditating for a long time. And it's been good, and that's what keeps me, from some days from like wanting to strangle people.
There you go.
It's my meditation, and God just reaches in and say, "Okay, Camille, take it down.
Keep your center. Keep your center. There you go.
Keep your center, and breathe." And that meditation, taking me back to my center, just thinking about going back to my center. That's really helped me. I've been meditating for a long time.
Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. Oh, I have a hairstyle idea. I'm just going to put it out there for you. If you want to take it, I bequeath it. All right. The brullet. All right. Think about it. Process it. It's like a mullet, but it's like dreads on a dude. I can see Samuel Jackson in this, like a brullet,
Oh, okay. I might have to steal that one.
I can be creative when I want to. I mean,
No, listen, we all have creativity in it. God gave it to us. All we have to do is tap into it.
I got a tagline for it too. It's like, it's thug on the front, party on the back. Boom.
I love it. There you go. I might have to steal that one. Don't be shocked. Black Panther 2 coming next year. So.
Yes, that would make my day if I see a brullet. I would be happy. I would be. Okay, I would just dig my own grave and say, I am happy now. I am good. I've seen it all.
Yay! No, we do. Black Panther 2 is coming next year. So, there's a lot of things coming up next year, too. So it's good.
Well, thank you so much. I've enjoyed this conversation. This has been so fun. And I've learned a lot. I've learned so much about the industry and what you do. So thank you so much for this.
No, thank you.
That, again, was Camille Friend, giving us an inside look at hairstyling in film. Now, check out Camille's IMDb page to see her complete filmography. And if you're interested in learning more about Camille's Hair Scholars classes, visit her website at hairscholars.com and visit the program's Facebook and Instagram page. And that's our show. Thanks again to Camille Friend, dropping some serious knowledge today. And did you know Africa has been in the news lately? Well, we have. And you can check out the who, what, when, where, and why by following us on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Until next time, keep your head up.